How do you explain our options to a seller, either on the phone or in person? Hey everybody, this is Zachary, SmartRealEstateCoach.com. Welcome to another Thursday Q&A. This question is so common, but is so important for the growth of your business. Now, we're going to briefly explain every single option here as if it would fit for this seller. Now, is it realistic that every single one of these options is going to be a great fit for a seller? Well, of course not. But I want to make sure that you have a good explanation for each and every one of them. That way you feel super comfortable. Now, if you want something more in depth, make sure that you go ahead and watch the videos that are very in depth, specific to the type of option, and of course go to the Deal Structure Sundays, because that way you can see these options in motion. So let's dive in first. Let's do an assign out. How do you explain it? When you're speaking to a seller, it is this simple. It's the simplest version of our options, and that is, hey, Mr. Seller, what we're going to do is we're going to agree upon a minimum purchase price. It means that is the price in which you do not want to go below. We're also going to agree upon a minimum monthly payment. So that would probably include your spread. So how much spread would you like to get on a monthly basis? And then do you have a minimum time frame in which you would be open to doing this type of lease purchase deal? Mr. Seller, just so you know, on average, our buyers are going to need somewhere between 18 and 24 months. Okay. Then what's going to happen, Mr. Seller, is once we have those things in place, we're then going to take it to market at a higher price because our buyers are willing to pay a premium on the property, and that's how I get paid. So once I take it to market, and once I have an agreement in hand, because I'm not a realtor, so I have to have equitable interest in the home. So I have the agreement in hand. I'm going to take it to market for a higher price, and I'm going to take it to market for that monthly payment, which you're hoping to get. Once I have found a buyer, now the buyers that I work with are buyers that are just outside of financeability, and those tend to be someone who's self-employed, just needs seasoning, or someone that had a legitimate hiccup in their credit. Now, if you watch this video during COVID and you're explaining it during COVID, then I would definitely go in depth with the seller stating, look, our market is typically anywhere from 65 to 80% of the buyers out there, and it's growing because banks are clamping down and are changing their rules right now in their qualification process. So buyers are just growing by the minute, and you're going to have access to them through this option. Now, once I have that buyer in hand, I'm then going to bring them through my normal vetting process. So at the end of that vetting process, we're going to know roughly how long it's going to take them to get a mortgage. We're also going to have a background check on them, sexual and criminal check. We're going to have absolutely everything as if I was taking them on in as the investor in working with them directly. I'm then going to provide you all of that information. It tends to be anywhere from 50 to 150 pages. And then you're going to be able to make the decision, yay or nay. And if you accept that buyer, that's when we'd move forward. Let's say you accept the buyer, Mr. Seller. We're then going to collect a non-refundable deposit. You're, of course, going to get a piece of that. Now, taking a side note over here, it's not that, of course, you're going to get a piece of it. It's whatever you're going to structure with them. It's really important. You can structure 0%, meaning they're going to get just the minimum purchase price with no deposit. You can also structure something in which they would be getting 25%, 33%, 50%. You choose the number. Whatever you and the seller can negotiate is really that number. We've had many of our associates do zero. And they get the entire deposit. Now, if you do that, please let us know. Comment below. I would love to hear when you get that done. So, with that being said, back to the conversation. Let's say you agreed upon the 33%. So, now, Mr. Seller, you're getting your purchase price. You're then getting 33% of the non-refundable deposit, which is above and beyond the price that we agreed upon with you. So now you're getting more than your purchase price. You're also getting a monthly spread. You're getting principal pay down. and you're getting your price, which I've covered twice now. So that's super important. So you absolutely win, Mr. Seller. So that's how that option would work. Now, me as the investor, I only use this option as if none of the other options work, because obviously there's only one payday in the game here. And I'm looking for long-term wealth, as you should be as well. So AO option tends to be the last ditch option, or if a seller wants all of the benefits and you can't provide that for them, meaning they want deposit, monthly principal pay down, monthly spread, things in which you would typically benefit from. So I go that AO route. Easiest way to get it going. Okay, let's stop AO and let's go to sandwich. So I'd explain a lease purchase to a seller now. Now, I'm going to make the assumption here in this explanation that a seller has a mortgage. Now, you can do a lease purchase if the seller has a mortgage or does not have a mortgage. Okay, so explanation. Mr. Seller, what we're going to do is me and you are going to agree upon a price. We're also going to lock in your equity at that time. So your equity is the difference between your mortgage balance and your purchase price. Once that's agreed upon, we're then going to agree to take over any and all responsibilities associated with the property. That's your mortgage, maintenance, taxes, insurance, any and all future repairs, any and all responsibilities. 100% ours. Now, we're also going to agree upon a definitive end date. On or before that end date, typically, cash is up before, but on or before that end date, we're then going to pay off the remaining balance of your mortgage, and then you're going to be receiving the equity at that time. Easiest way to look at this is it's a delayed cash sale. Everything's agreed upon at the beginning. I handle everything, closes in the end, in which it goes to a traditional sale. Simple, huh? Right? Real easy. That tends to be a majority of our deals because the title is going to stay in the seller's name. Seller's still going to get all the tax benefits associated with the property, and you are contractually responsible for everything. Real easy from both ends. Okay, now let's get out of the lease option side now, and let's go into the buying side here. Let's go into actually closing title. So let's start with owner financing. Now, you probably noticed that we niche down in owner financing. I'm talking free and clear, debt-free houses. That's where we tend to focus our energy on when it comes to owner financing. So, this is the explanation. Mr. Seller, let's go Mrs. Seller. Mrs. Seller, we're going to agree upon a purchase price. We're also going to agree upon a monthly payment. Now that monthly payment tends to be principal only, which allows us to pay you your price or even a premium on the property. Once we agree upon that, we're then going to write up a purchase and sale agreement. We're then going to close on the property. At that time, the title is going to transfer to my company. You're then going to be secured by a first position on the property. That's the same position as a bank would be in. That is the most secure position. You're then going to, as soon as we close on it, you're going to be holding that mortgage, and you're going to be getting paid monthly over the course of a period of time, which we would have agreed upon at the beginning, a balloon date. On and before that balloon date is when the lump sum is then going to be cashed out. Now, over the period of time which I'm making your payments, the principal is going down, and then you're going to receive that balloon. Of course, title's transferred over to my company, so you no longer have any responsibility of the house. We are responsible for the entire thing as we own it now. Now, jumping out of the conversation here, obviously one of our favorite options here. Why? Because we're getting massive principal pay down. We're getting ownership. We're getting depreciation. We're getting tax benefits associated with it. And from a seller side, there's so many benefits. There's going to be tax benefits associated with it over an extended amount of period of time. I'm not an accountant, so I'm not going to go fully into that. Now, and also there's going to be, they're going to be able to get their purchase price. We tend to pay a premium on the property, or at least help them net more than what they would have done traditionally. And we're able to do that because of the principal pay down and the length of time. Now, just a quick side note here, and that is, it doesn't have to always be principal only payments. That tends to be where we fit in. because our owner financing deals aren't really long. They're like 4 or 5, under 10 years. Now, you can agree to pay interest, and there's many ways you can skin a cat here when it comes to owner financing, and that would be for a whole video in itself. But you can agree to pay some interest if you're getting really long terms. That'd be the best way to look at it. 10 plus years, start thinking about that. Okay? But whatever you do, just create the best deal for yourself possible. Now, let's go to the last option here as well, and that's buying a property subject to the existing loan. Now, this tends to be the most tricky, and we do have many other videos on sub 2, but just to keep it real light and simple, this would be the explanation. Mrs. Seller, what we're going to do in this process is we're going to agree upon a price. Now, if there's little to no equity in the deal, we'd just be agreeing upon the balance of the current mortgage. We would then close on the property, title would transfer, mortgage would stay in your name until we actually get this property cashed out in the future, until we pay off the mortgage in the future. Now, during that time frame, you have zero responsibility of the property. We're handling everything, and we're contractually obligated to continue to keep your mortgage current and to continue to maintain the property because we own it. So, of course, we would take care of this with the best of our abilities. And then in the future, because what we need to happen here is we need the principal on the mortgage to pay down, and we need the property to appreciate. That way we can create some equity in the house and be able to sell it in the future. Now, we're both on the same team here. We want to be able to continue to maintain this property. We want to get you cashed out in the future and make sure that we can solve your problem, which is typically some debt relief or getting and be able to move on with the property. So, simple explanation there. Mrs. Seller, you don't have to worry about this responsibility of the property anymore. I handle everything. We close on the property. We get title. The only thing that connects you still is the mortgage, but we're contractually obligated to continue to make that payment. So now we've gone through every single one of these options from a 10,000 foot view. Trust me, you're going to need to dive into these options with a lot more explanation, meaning I want you to dive into our deal structure studies so you can see how these operate, and also go back to some other YouTube videos to make sure, YouTube or on other social media videos, to make sure you're really wrapping your head around this, as understanding these options are so critical. Not only understanding them, but explaining them are so critical to the growth of your business. Maybe you want to go ahead and rewatch this video. So I hope you're enjoying another Thursday Q&A with me. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and click the subscribe button. If you're on Facebook, make sure you like, share, pass this thing along. If you're on Instagram, click the little heart. And also, guys, write some questions, guys and gals. Write some questions. That way we can continue to bring you more value here. And lastly, Wicked Smart Sit Down is the third Thursday of every single month where you get to ask us questions live. The family team certified coaches, make sure you show up for those. And that way you can get the feedback immediately. Hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you soon.